Welcome to Restoration of Spirit. I'm Janet Cole. No, the world is not going to end in 2012. It's just snowing a lot. So stick around because we've got a great show for you today. By definition, restoration of spirit is getting back to the life we were meant to live. We do this primarily in two ways, through self-care and self-discovery. And once we learn what our dreams and our passions are, some of us need a jump start to change. Restoration of spirit is about learning to discover and having the courage to live your dreams. Only through our passion can we live a life of joy. Each month I bring you an astrology report with our resident astrologer, Jennifer Angel. And those can be found on the restorationofspirit.com website. A couple months ago, the topic of the Mayan calendar came up, and there was so much interest and talk about it that we thought we would turn it into an entire half-hour show about the calendar. So today, Jennifer will be joining us, and we'll discuss the Mayan calendar as well as the 9 levels of the evolution of consciousness as seen in the Mayan calendar structure. Let's welcome Jennifer, our resident astrologer, to the show. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Janet. How's everything going this month?
Well, we've got our shift of temperature and weather today, so we're definitely in the fall mode here in Chicago. What about for you in Miami?
Well, you know, we're just starting to put on long sleeves here, so, you know, we're not really into jackets, but I am on my way moving up to be a New York resident, so, you know, I'm going to be having all the big jackets out for that.
Yeah, so enjoy your last fall and part of winter in Florida while you can, right?
Exactly.
Well, before we get into really the month of November or even the 12 signs, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Mayan calendar because a lot of conversation and talk has been going on about that since we're approaching 2012. So what information can you give us about the Mayan calendar? Because this is something I find very fascinating.
You know, Janet, it's quite confusing because, you know, there is a lot of material out there on the websites. I've got like 2 main people at the end of the discussion, which I'll give to your listeners to go and, you know, get some further information. But the Mayan calendar actually finished on the 28th of October, 2011. Okay, so just, you know, last week passed. So that's really the end of the Mayan calendar. Now, I'll come back and talk more about that, but the 2012 December 23rd date really relates, I mean, it combines in, it all sort of interrelates on some way, but the 21st of December 2012 is an alignment date where the sun, the earth, and the Milky Way, it's like all line up. It's like a galactic lineup. So that's very interesting in itself. So, you know, also on top of that, there's also discussions about the possibility of pole flips, the reversal of poles. So all these discussions, and there's a magnitude of information out there on it. You just need to be careful that you're reading the right material and don't get confused. It's very easy to. Now, let's go back to the Mayan calendar and that discussion, because there's, you know, some people are calling it a doomsday, and what does it really mean? And there's a lot of confusion around it. So basically, the Mayan calendar it went in 9 waves. The Mayan calendar relates to the levels of consciousness of evolution through the periods of time. Like, so for instance, 16.4 billion years ago was the commencement of the calendar. Now this was at a cellular level, and each level or wave of consciousness through evolution related or resonated to a different area. So for instance, this first level resonated to substance. Now also, just to explain it a little bit further at this point, each level of consciousness, or let's call it wave of consciousness, consisted of 7 light days, and 6 dark nights. So for each of those periods in this first level consisted of 1.26 billion years. So the next is was the first animal, so it's mammalian underground. That took 820 million years, and each of those 6 night, 7 day segments of time took 63.1 millions of years. So you can see how we've gone from 1.2 billion to 63.1 million. The third level, which was 41 million years ago, we had the first monkey, so that's a familiar underworld, and that took 3.2 million years for each of those segments of time. Then we go to the first humans. This is like the tribal underground. That was the time space of 2.05 million years, and it was 158,000 years that segment, the 6 night, 7 day segment of time it took. Next was the first language, the regional underworld. Next was the first writing started, the national underworld. Then moving up to when industry started, this was like the discovery of infinite universe. Now this is where it starts to become significant. So we're looking at AD 1755 now. And the whole internet started around this time as well. So each of the segments of time, each of those days took 19.7 years. So you can see how the time is speeding up. The evolution of time is speeding up. The next phase we go to, which started January 1999, it's called the galactic underworld. It's like the economic boom, and also the economic collapse. This is like a real period of truth of what's happening. So each day in this period of time took 360 days. So once again, it's getting like the stage and the waves of evolution are just getting smaller and smaller and faster until we get to the 9th wave, which started on the 9th of March 2011. It's called like the universal underground, and it represents let's say trust and oneness, and that actually came down to each of those 6 day, 7 night periods to take 18 days each. Okay, so when we look back now, we go from the creation, where each of those periods of time took 1.26 billion years to evolve to the next wave. It's now taking 18 days to evolve to the next wave, and that the end of that calendar was October the 28th, 2011. Okay, now when we talk about the end of the calendar, it's very hard to say it stops at that specific date. I mean, it's like, when do you turn an adult and you stop being a child? It's somewhere around the age of 21, or when you leave your teens at the age of 19 to 20. So, but some people are still really a teenager, and some people have been adults for many years. So, it's an approximate date of evolution. Now, the last wave. Now, a wave is considered a level of consciousness, and the last level of consciousness, the 9th wave. That's the wave that completed on the 28th of October, just gone. Now, for instance, each of those periods, each of those transformational waves, of which are called periods of 7 periods of light, 6 periods of day. So each day and night, it started off. Let's see, the first level started 16.4 billion years ago, and each day and night took 1.26 billion years to pass through. That level was called the cellular level, related to substance. Now, let's just move forward to, say, the 5th level, which started 102,000 years ago. Each day and night took 7,900 years to go through, okay, for that phase. That level is regional, related to shamanism. Okay, let's go up to where we are. Well, let's go to the 7th level. That resonates to materialism, planetary level. It commenced July 24th. Each day and night is 19.7 years. So each of those 7 phases took 19.7 years to go through. If we come up to the 9th wave level of consciousness that's just completed at the end of the Mayan calendar, it started on the 9th of March 2011, and each day and night took 18 days. Okay, so this is what they're relating to when people say the speed of evolution is increasing. And what it actually means is that the vibration is increasing. So we're now operating and living in a higher vibration, and it's a more positive vibration. So anything that's more of a negative vibration will spin off, because it won't be able to survive in that vibration that we're now coming into. So it's really very interesting time that we're in. So it's I hope I've explained it somewhat easy as an overview, because as I said, it is quite complex. But basically, I don't believe it's a doomsday. What I believe it's a time of transformation, and it comes back to every single person has a choice of what you put out, of the energy that you resonate out. And this is so important right now to be conscious of your vibration that you're putting out, so you can survive and live in this higher, more positive vibration that we're in now. So it's very much a time of transformation. But even though the calendar says that it stopped on that date, it's really not. It's hard to say it stops and starts, because as a friend of mine said, it's like, when does a person become an adult, really? I mean, it's 13 in some religions, it's like 20 in other places, it's 9. So, it's a number which is forever just evolving. It's a coming of age, if that's does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So that October 28th day really isn't a doomsday. I think a lot of people, the date just sort of came and went. They didn't even realize what was happening. So it wasn't really any, catastrophic experience for most people. A lot of people didn't even know about it. And they think sort of the end of the year, I guess, as being the end of the calendar, as opposed to October 28th. But what does it really signify? Just the last of these waves?
Yeah, it signifies the evolution coming into its own. It's like we're maturing on a higher vibration level. So, we're coming into a more positive level. So there won't be so much of the polarities. So it's really like we're in my mind, it's like we're maturing on a whole, as a whole evolution. And I think, you and I can see this now of just the level of things that are happening. More people are meditating, more people are inquiring. It's like people are looking for higher purpose, asking more in-depth questions. So, that's coming out. And people say, okay, well, what can I do to help that? And it's all the things that we know. It's look after yourself, look after your body, do what's right for your body, eat right, get connected to nature, meditate more, try to get like that mind, body, soul connection. And it's very important that you listen, to your inner self, and not just intuitiveness, but listen to what your body wants as well, because we still, even though we are spiritual beings, we still are here in a physical body.
Well, I think that's a good lesson that thousands of years ago, these indigenous Mayan people were in tune with, and they still exist today. There are still Mayans in Mexico and Central America, and other indigenous tribes too. We were talking a little bit before off camera about the sort of intuitive and in-tuneness to spirit that a lot of these indigenous people had. And it's so amazing how they had it back then. And I think the lesson now is really that we can incorporate that ourselves and maybe learn from them and learn from some of these sort of predictions and forecasts that they had, that, you know, this is sort of a dawning of a new age.
Well, Janet, you know, everything is interrelated. I mean, it really is. The big message that's coming through now is that it's all about a oneness, and that's coming through on very different levels, including the Mayan calendar. I mean, the end of the ninth wave, I mean, it is called the universal wave, and it resonates to a oneness. And a lot of the study that I'm doing on many levels, you know, I was studying Lynn McTaggart for quite a while there, and she does the whole thing as well on one. It's like the field, and we've always known this, but it's like right now everything's sort of bringing it all together, knitting it together. Now, I can see that happening from an astro point as well. I mean, for instance, all the planets this month are coming into or sitting in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is like the visionary. It's like sits on the ninth house. It's like your dreams and wishes. I also think that the 12th house is the dreams and wishes as well, although not all astrologers agree with me on that level. But so it's sitting in like that ninth house under Sagittarius. And Sagittarius are like the big thinkers. They're the visionary people. Now, so, you know, for instance, the sun moves on the 22nd of November, which is our most powerful force, of course, and Venus on the 2nd, which means that, you know, it opens up for connections and partnerships with people that we resonate with, and that's what it's all about now. It's like, you know, it's not really good, bad, or indifferent. It's just resonating together, and this whole November planetary placements in Sagittarius helps that, because Sagittarius is about higher learning. It's about gaining knowledge. It's about truth. I mean, don't ever ask a Sagittarian to keep a secret, because they just can't. They just can't feel. The more they try to keep a secret, the more they feel uncomfortable in their skin. That's one of the sayings that I love. So you know, but they're about truth, but they're about a higher level of truth. So it's like coming into your own truth and your own circle of power, and realizing that, you know, you as an individual are part of something much, much, much bigger, and you resonate as a whole in the big picture. So the other thing that's happening from February the 4th next year is Neptune, which comes back into phase on the 10th of this month. It's retrograde in Aquarius at the moment, which is the solar 11th house. So it comes back into phase and moves back into Pisces, which is the sign that it rules, on February the 4th next year. It stays there for a long time. It's a slow-moving planet. It's there for like 13 years. So what's fabulous about this is that people will feel more in tune, because Neptune represents inspiration, it's imagination. You know, I think dreams and wishes are all tied up in there as well, in that 12th house position. And so when it's in the sign that it rules, and for this long period of time, it's a real intuitive. It helps us get more in touch with who we are, who we really are, and start to love, accept, and radiate that unique and beautifulness. I'm sure that's not a word. There's lots of information, and it can be quite confusing, so I want to make sure you go to the right information. I mean, I'm by no means an expert on, you know, at this level. I mean, of course, most people like yourself and myself that work in the industry, of course, interested in it, and we're studying it, and we're trying to keep up to date with what's going on. But there's two people that I think are good authorities on it, and one is John Jenkins. You can go to his site, and the other one is Carl Kalman. Now, both of these people have done many lectures and books, and, you know, if you go there, Carl Kalman is Carl and Calleman. So they're good resources and authorities on the Mayan calendar.
Okay, great. That's always some good information to have. And every month you give us your special guru advice. What have you got for us this month?
You know, it's nothing new this month, and I've given this advice before, but, you know, it's just so relevant to what's happening right now. And it's just like your thoughts are powerful. Don't ever think that as a single person you can't make a difference, because, you know, you can. I mean, it's one person plus one plus one plus one, and you do not have to be. I mean, it's proved now, you know, that your heart, the vibration from your heart is can change the magnetic field around the earth. And, you know, you don't have to be standing there all together. I mean, if you can just keep positive and put those positive thoughts out and continue to live at a higher level and continue to learn and grow. You know, that's the homework I would give to everybody this month. Find something of a higher purpose, a skill, some learning, and go and buy yourself a Kindle and start reading.
Well, even though you've said it before and it seems like it can be kind of basic, I think that the best way, the easiest way that we can be the change, and you can make a change with just one person, is just changing our own vibrational frequency, which can be by changing our thoughts, our beliefs, our attitude, any of those little things like you said. And if we relate that to the Mayans, wasn't that really about a shift in vibration or consciousness that they believed was going to happen?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, you know, we have a choice now, Janet. You know, we can operate a lower vibration or we can operate at a higher vibration, and every single person has that choice. Right,
right, exactly. And I think that's so fabulous too, that we can realize that now, that we can make a difference as one person, because we've heard that, you know, so much in the past of, oh, I'm just one person, I can't really make a change or a difference. But we're seeing now that the impact of one person's vibration and the domino effect of that. What about the highlights for 2012?
Well, there are a few, you know, major planetary moves this year, Janet. The big thing that's happening this year is Neptune, which is a planet of inspiration, imagination, also romance, moves into the sign that it rules, which is Pisces. So it's a huge intuitive boost and shift. So, you know, what people will be starting to do, and this is a 13-year placement, so, but, you know, we can expect to be just tuning into our instincts more, following our intuition, getting more in touch with our spirituality, and getting more in touch with ourselves and how we can be the best that we can be. Hence, finding our true calling and living our passion, so that all fits together.
The ancient Mayan people seem to have been a very intuitive and spiritually based culture, to have come up with this incredible calendar structure. On some level, they knew about the need for oneness and that we really are all connected. And in today's day and age, it's so interesting that we can all connect with each other all around the world based on the current technology. So I'm glad to know that the world's not coming to an end, hopefully, in 2012, but yet that there's a new level of consciousness that we can all tap into. So thanks for joining us today on Restoration of Spirit. I'm Janet Cole. I'm Janet Cole, host of Restoration of Spirit. 2011 was a great year on the show. We learned all about the power of walking, the 8 pillars of motivation, how to be open-minded about the foods we eat and how to cook creatively in the kitchen, how to decorate rich on a limited budget, and that happiness is a choice. I know that in 2012, we're going to learn many more ways on how to restore our spirits. Be sure to check us out at restorationofspirit.com for your local broadcast listings, or watch a show on demand. And please join us on Facebook and tell us what you do to restore your spirit. Welcome to Restoration of Spirit. I'm Janet Cole. This is our monthly astrology report with Jennifer Angel. Well, Happy New Year. It's 2012, and I think this is going to be a great year. What do you think, Jennifer?
It's going to be a fabulous year, Janet. There's lots of things happening, and this is a fabulous time to just think about, you know, what you want to do, where you are, and, you know, what you want to do for the future. There's a lot of information out there at the moment about finding your passion and Oprah had an article in her magazine called, Finding Your True Calling. So it's a very, very interesting time. And of course, the end of the year, the start of a new year, it's a perfect time to do that. But one of the sites that I would like to give to people to go and have a look at is called The Passion Test. It's by Janet and Chris Atwood. And, they've been fine-tuning this. I remember I did the test, a few years back now, I think, and it's very good. It's free, and it just helps people discover their life purpose. So it's a really nice thing to do this time of year before you start doing your New Year resolutions and set your goals.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds like a really nice tool for people who either don't know what their passion is and want to get a little bit more insight, or maybe you're already living your passion and you can do it to just sort of double check and use it to set your resolutions or goals for the year.
So for Aries, you have a chance to find your real passion and live your dreams this year, Aries, so it's very positive. Taurus, you can improve your finances. I'm sure that's music to your ears, so money will come from new ventures. And Gemini, or Jupiter moves into your sign on June the 1st, so June the 12th, so it's a very fateful time for you. Cancer, you can actually find love and commit your heart. Two different things. Finding love is one thing, but finding, love or having love in your life that you want to make a commitment to is another thing. So it's all possible this year if you're ready for it. Leo, your work gets a boost, so things can turn around for you in 2012. Virgo, after Jupiter moves into your 10th house, your career and business house in June, your career can take off for the better as well. Now, Libra, you can add a skill base to your knowledge bank this year, which will be advantageous. Scorpio, this is an absolute power year for you this year. You can stand in your own circle of power, take charge, and really just surge forward. So it's no sitting in the back seat for you, okay? Sagittarius, 2012 is all about love and family. Work changes can formulate as well. You can start to get into your mind what you actually want to do. Capricorn, influential contacts play a huge part in what's going to happen next for you. Aquarius, this is a very social year. You're going into at the end of the year, October the 6th, when Saturn moves into your 10th house of career and business, you're going to go in for a couple of years of really hard work, but it's going to set good foundations and it'll be well worth it, okay? Pisces, Neptune's in your sign, your ruling planet for 13 years. You're in the zone. Nothing is impossible. Don't put limits on yourself. So, of course, Janet, as you know, I always try and look with these little highlights at the positive, but, there's always a bit of, support and challenge in everybody's life, as we know.